Basketball fans usually remember the highlights, the game winners, the posters, the championship celebrations, the stuff that gets replayed 1,000 times. But the NBA has another side, a side that doesn't fit into a flashy Instagram clip. Stories that are strange, stories that are uncomfortable, stories that almost sound fake until you realize they actually happened. We're talking about a player whose organs were literally backwards. A future superstar who nearly lost his NBA dream because he legally didn't belong to any country. A teenager who got kicked out of his own house and slept on couches before becoming one of the toughest players alive. And a whole NBA team that came terrifyingly close to disappearing forever. These are NBA stories normal media usually doesn't spend much time talking about. And some of them get really dark. Let's get into it. Number 1, the player who was built like a mirror. Imagine going to the doctor and hearing something that sounds impossible. Your heart is on the wrong side. That happened to former NBA player Randy Foye. His heart sat on the right side of his chest. His liver was on the left. Almost all of his major organs were reversed. Basically, imagine somebody taking a normal human body and flipping it like a mirror image. The condition is incredibly rare. 100 out of every 10,000 births. And here's the crazy part. He didn't even know. As a kid, Randy got pneumonia and doctors discovered everything after running tests. Now imagine hearing that at 9 years old. Most people would probably panic. Randy? He pretty much shrugged and moved on. Because despite how bizarre it sounded, his body actually worked normally. No major problems, no giant health issues, nothing stopping him from playing basketball. So while everyone else was trying to survive NBA defenders, Randy was out there surviving with a body that looked like nature accidentally hit reverse. And somehow, he still built a solid NBA career. Number 2, the NBA team that almost never came home. January 17, 1960.
The team perished that night.
The Minneapolis Lakers were flying home after a game. Normal trip, normal night, until everything started failing. And I mean everything. The heater stopped working, the radio died, the lights went out, the compass stopped working, the fuel gauge stopped working. During a snowstorm. Yeah, not exactly ideal. The pilots couldn't see, couldn't communicate, couldn't navigate. Imagine being thousands of feet in the air realizing you're basically driving blind. Players started feeling the cold. The tension got worse. Fuel kept dropping. And suddenly basketball became the last thing anyone cared about. Forget playoff pressure. Forget Game 7. This was survival. After hours of flying through chaos, the pilots finally spotted a tiny town in Iowa. No airport, no runway, just darkness and cornfields. So they made a decision. Land in a field at around 1:30 in the morning. They somehow pulled it off. 23 people on board. Every single one survived. No major injuries. Nothing. An entire NBA team nearly vanished that night. And most fans have never heard the story. Number 3, Jimmy Butler's beginning. People see Jimmy Butler now and think toughness, confidence, trash talk, playoff monster. But his story started somewhere much darker. When Jimmy was only 13 years old, his mother reportedly kicked him out of the house. Imagine hearing that at 13. You're supposed to be worried about school, video games, basketball practice, not where you're sleeping tonight. Jimmy bounced between couches for years. Different houses, different friends, never really knowing where he'd end up. Now imagine trying to focus on basketball while your life feels unstable every day. Most people would have cracked. Jimmy didn't. Eventually, a friend's family took him in and gave him something he'd been missing: stability. Then basketball started opening doors. But even then, nothing came easy. No major scholarship attention, no giant offers. So he went to junior college and kept grinding. And here's one of the wildest details. Jimmy committed to college from a McDonald's. Not some huge ceremony, not cameras, not ESPN, a McDonald's. Years later, he became an NBA star. From homeless teenager to one of the toughest players in basketball. That's insane. Number 4, the man who lost years of his career for nothing. Imagine training your entire life for the NBA, then getting blocked before even entering. Not because you failed, not because you cheated, because people assumed something. That happened to Connie Hawkins. As a young player, he got tied to a gambling scandal. Problem was, there was no proof he did anything wrong. None. But his name got attached anyway, and suddenly NBA teams wanted nothing to do with him. Years passed, prime years gone. Most players would have disappeared after that. Connie didn't. He kept playing elsewhere, dominated everywhere, won MVP awards, destroyed competition. Eventually, the NBA settled legal issues and finally gave him a chance. And then something incredible happened. He immediately proved everybody wrong. Because he wasn't just NBA level, he was superstar level. Imagine losing years of your dream because of something you didn't even do. That's brutal. Number 5. Giannis almost never made the NBA. Now here's one that sounds completely unreal. Before Giannis Antetokounmpo became one of the biggest stars on earth, he almost couldn't even leave Greece. Not because of basketball, because of paperwork. Giannis was born in Greece, raised in Greece, lived in Greece, but he wasn't automatically considered a citizen. And Nigeria hadn't issued documents either. So technically, he was stuck. No passport, no travel, nothing. Think about how crazy that is. Imagine having NBA talent, but not being able to travel for workouts, not being able to attend the draft, not because of injuries, not because of skill, because legally you don't even have official status. Then finally, just weeks before the NBA draft, Greek citizenship came through. Barely in time, and everything changed. Think about how small that window was. One delay, one paperwork issue, one signature arriving late, and basketball history might look completely different today. Number 6, the player who walked away. People think making the NBA automatically fixes everything. Money, success, dream life. But reality doesn't always work like that. Former NBA player Tyrell Terry learned that the hard way. He entered the league young, talented, full of potential. But behind the scenes, something was falling apart. He later described waking up feeling sick, struggling to breathe, living with overwhelming anxiety. Basketball stopped feeling like something he loved. It became something hurting him. Then came a decision almost nobody expected. He retired at only 22 years old, not because he couldn't play, because he felt like he couldn't keep surviving mentally. And honestly, that hits differently. Because fans usually see stats, numbers, highlights, not battles happening inside someone's head. Basketball is entertainment, but behind every jersey, there's still a human being. And sometimes the stories hidden behind the game become crazier than the game itself. A player with reversed organs, a team surviving a disaster, a kid sleeping on couches before becoming a superstar, a future MVP nearly blocked by paperwork, and players fighting battles nobody could see. Because sometimes the darkest NBA stories aren't about what happened on the court. They're about what happened away from it. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and comment. Which NBA story shocked you the most?